Good morning, grandkids. This is Friday morning, and I'm ready to read you chapter 53 of the story I'm writing about the young wizard Dorkly. I think we might have one or two more chapters after this, and it will be the end of the book. And I'm kind of anxious because I'm looking forward to starting another book, the one that quite a while back I read you a brief first chapter out of. So you'd know what it's going to be about, what it's going to be like. But let's read this chapter today. Chapter 53. It's early morning when the ship docks at Blue Haven. Dorkly and his two companions exit and walk up the hill toward the Palace of Blue Spire. He stops outside his friend's house. This is where my friend lives. I'll introduce you to him another time. It's really too early in the morning for me to be banging on his door. Let's go on up to the palace. What does he do? Chris asked. Well, he lives here with his mom since his dad died. He works a little in ironworking and with leather. He also helps out the fishermen. They mosey on up the hill to the city gates. Near there is the stable, and Dorkly stops to give Cheesy some lovin' and a handful of cheese and introduces his buddies to his horse. They go through the city gates, and Dorkly gives the guards on top of the wall a hello salute and moves on through the town to the palace doors. They enter, and he shows Grizz and Shuffle his deceased father's abode in one of the large spires. I had thought about moving in here, but I think I've changed my mind. So you two are to live here. Right now, I've got to go see my girl Cindy. Then let King Conley know that I'm back. If you want some food or drink, get one of the guards out here to get you a servant if there isn't anything in the kitchen. I'll be back later. And he hurried out the door. Dorkly goes straight to Cindy and takes her up to the top of his spire to sit in chairs and take in the fresh air. I got to see some interesting places while I was gone, but I mainly missed you. And he leaned over and kissed her cheek. You know what I'd like to do? Let's find Father Dunner and get married quickly, like right now. I love you, Cindy, and I don't want to wait any longer. What do you say? And he flashes his dimple at her with a smile. Sounds like a good idea to me, Cindy murmured against his lips, and I've missed you too. Let's do it. They both jumped up and hurried down the stairs. Later that morning, while crossing through the court, a guard who had been sent to find Dorkly and Cindy stopped them and said, "The king sent me to ask both of you to come and have a bite to eat with him." And he waited. "Sure," said Dorkly, and he looked at Cindy. She nodded her head, so Dorkly told the guard to lead on. When they arrive at the king's chambers, the guard tips his head at them and goes on his way. As Dorkly and Cindy enter the king's living room, Conley stands up and walks toward them with a big smile. "Well, my young wizard, it's good to have you back home. And Cindy, you're looking lovely so early in the morning." Conley poked his head out the door and motioned a guard over. "Go find a servant and tell them that the king wants an early lunch for 3 of us." He turned back into the room and motioned to Dorkly and Cindy with his hand. "Come on and take a seat. Sorry I wasn't up. I was rather busy until late planning a trip for later." Inez was sitting there and said, "Good morning. It's nice that you're back, Dorkly. And Cindy, You're dressed mighty pretty this morning." Cindy said thank you. It was a special occasion. "Oh," Conley looked at Dorkly. "What's going on?" "We just got married," they said together and laughed. "We couldn't wait for a decent wedding," Dorkly went on. "Well, great," Conley said. "We will have one huge party for both of us. By the way, what's going on with your face? You trying to look like your dad, rest his soul?" Dorkly stroked his short beard and smoothed his skimpy mustache. "You like?" "I wanted to try to look a little older as I assume Dad's position by your throne. It'll take a little time, I guess," he grinned, showing his dimple. "It won't take too long," King smiled. "You're a fine-looking young man, and your dad would be proud. Well, we have a couple of things to discuss while we eat. Before you start your regular position by my throne, there is one more thing that I want you to do first. First, though, I'll tell you what I'm going to do." Conley proceeds to talk about the city that he wants to have built. "Inez and I are going to take a carriage to the northeast coast. Some warriors will accompany us, and I'll take a contractor. We are going to plan a new city. Later, I have a couple of contractors building up a couple of our towns into cities. Having the first big city up there will start some good trading between us and the mainland. We need to start growing. With Inez, I'm feeling younger and ambitious once more." And he turned and looked at her lovingly. Inez squeezed his hand and said, "Dorkly, we may even hire a mayor or overseer in each of the towns, even the mining settlement, to help them start growing. It will certainly help our economy and will help draw more people to the continent." "Wow, how exciting!" Looking at the king, Dorkly said, "Anything you need me to do to help you, just ask." "I'm so glad you said that," Conley chuckled. "As I said, there's another thing that I want you to do before you start your duties again by the throne." "Okay, let's have it. You're always surprising me," Dorkly smiled. As the king talked, Dorkly's smile began to fade. "Well, while Inez and I are gone, I will need someone here in the courtroom." Dorkly's face began to blanch. Cindy was looking at him a little concerned. "I want you and Bonester, along with a couple of warriors and your acolytes and a couple of guards, to stay here in the court for the day that I'm gone. You can sit at the tables, have food and drink, play cards, whatever. I just need you guys in here to make sure that there's no trouble. The guards outside the door will tell any citizens who come around that the king isn't available for the day. Think you can handle that?" Dorkly jumped, startled, and said, Yes, I can handle that. And Bonester and I get along great. We'll be fine, and we'll make sure there's no trouble." Still looking a little scared. Good. I know this place will be in good hands, and everything will be fine, just for a day." The meal was over, and Dorkly was a little dazed as he stood up. "Shall I head to the courtroom now?" Dorkly asked. No, Conley said. "In the morning, early. A guard will come and get you." Before they got to his door, Conley said, "I hope you'll soon be giving us some baby wizards." "That I want as soon as possible," Cindy laughed. Dorkly looked solemn and saluted her, saying, "Yes, ma'am," and they walked out laughing. That afternoon on the mainland, King Brigham calls court into session. A couple of guards bring in his son Quentin and Quentin's daughter Gertrude. 2 warriors are standing behind them. At the side, as witnesses, are Major Farthington and his son, Sergeant Nick Grisher, also the king's advisor, Sherman Oakes. I and my court advisors have found the 2 of you both guilty of treason against this country and your king. Also, treason against our neighboring country and their king, my son Conley. I solemnly, and to my sorrow, sentence you both to be executed by hanging. The king's eyes were wet with the tears that he could not shed here. This will take place at dawn tomorrow. King Brigham rose from his throne and with his hands clasped tightly behind his back, turned and walked out of his court, a tear finally slipping down his cheek. After the court hearing, Farthington and Nick told Stella about the hearing and that executions are pending. Then Farthington says, "Luckily, Dorkly had been dismissed and was sent home. Now I must do the same. I've been gone long enough. Sorry, Stella, that I can't stay longer for a more happy visit, but duty calls." "I'll miss you," Stella said. "Maybe you'll get to come for an actual visit someday," she said, shedding a tear. "Someday," he said, smiling, "but now I have to go." And he hugged her, then shook hands with Nick and headed for the docks. That night in bed, Conley knows that executions will be taking place and is feeling sorrowful and upset. It's a sad conclusion of the day. Inez hopes to cheer him up and says, "I have some good news to help make you feel better." When he looked at her with raised eyebrows, she said, "I'm pregnant. You're going to have an heir." So that's the end of that chapter for today. I hope you enjoyed that one. We've only got 1 or 2 more to go, and this story will be finished. But I'm kind of excited because I'm really looking forward to the next story that I want to write. And after that, it's not going to be a long story like this one was. After that, maybe I could write a sequel to this story with Dorkly. There's some more things that we can do up on that main continent. Coming back to King Conley's continent once in a while. And after that, maybe we could even make another sequel. Maybe something in between those also. But another sequel, because there might be a lot that could be going on with the son on his island and his book writing. Maybe something else will be going on with him. Who knows? So let's entertain those thoughts, think about them, and decide what we'll do next after the coming mystery story. I will see you all later. Be good, and I'll talk to you again next week, I guess. Bye.